What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 19, Town Hall Downfall. And what a downfall it was. So let's get started first with continuing with the meeting between Melody and Marceau, which is where we left off last week. So Melody and Marceau, they got together to discuss the issues that are going on between them, specifically, Marceau trying to downplay Melody's business acumen, trying to minimize what she has accomplished as a black businesswoman. And so this is the things that he had said when he had dinner with Chris and Nell Fletcher. And at that dinner, he just said that, he really didn't care about Melody not being a keynote speaker at his Black Expo because all she does is sell t-shirts online. And he really has no respect for people that do e-commerce or people that push products or whatever the hell he said. So Melody, word got right back to Melody and she wanted to address this with him. So this is where we're at. So Melody says, just own that you were throwing jabs at me. Just own it. Just say that you were throwing jabs at me. And Marceau wants to make it look like he was trying to make a point. It wasn't him just throwing jabs, that this was part of a bigger conversation. It wasn't just a Melody conversation, etc. So Melody says, I had a business that did $1 million in 1 year. And Marceau says, well, then you went bankrupt. And Melody says, I went bankrupt because I was going through a divorce, because Martell filed for bankruptcy and he was going to leave me holding the bag full of debt. So that's why I had to file for bankruptcy. You went and you filed for bankruptcy as well, but you filed for bankruptcy because you can't keep your finances in order. Then I'm thinking to myself, Marceau, why would you bring up her filing for bankruptcy when you yourself have also filed for bankruptcy? And a lot of people who go through a divorce end up filing for bankruptcy. But Marceau, what's your excuse for filing for bankruptcy? You haven't been through a divorce. So is it true that you just can't keep your finances together and you wanted to keep your debtors at bay? So they go back and forth with what Melody has actually accomplished as a businesswoman. She talks about all the things that she's been doing since 2014. Marceau talks about, well, the only reason why you're even successful online is because of the show, because of this platform. That's why anybody would buy anything from you, because of the show. So now I was like, okay, the pieces are starting to kind of come together now. The reason why Marceau wanted to attack Melody in her online business is because she must be doing really well at it. And his excuse for her doing well is not because she's a great businesswoman, it's because she's on a TV show. And because of her popularity on this TV show, that's why she's able to sell a lot of t-shirts or whatever else that she's selling online. So now it's like, okay, it's all coming together now. The jealousy towards Melody runs deep with Marceau and his wife, Letitia. I mean, they both have a big heart-on for Melody, both of them. Because she is the only woman that Marceau wants to go toe-to-toe with. She's the only woman that Marceau wants to pick at. Now, Marceau, he's extremely misogynistic, right? That's my personal opinion. I think he's very misogynistic. And to me, Marceau does not have a lot of respect for women in general. And I don't think he puts a lot of value in women. I'm so curious on how he grew up, because both him and his brother Maurice exhibit very dated, archaic, misogynistic views of women. Here you have Marceau attacking Melody and her business achievements. He kind of talks down. Oh, no, he doesn't kind of. He talks down at his wife. He gaslights her every chance he gets. Whenever she wants to bring up anything that bothers her within her marriage, anything that bothers her about him, he starts to gaslight the hell out of her. He doesn't have a lot of respect for his wife. He doesn't have a lot of respect for Melody. And you have Maurice, who sees his wife as only what she can do for him, how she can serve him, how she can satisfy his needs, even while she's going through her illness, her cancer situation. He's still kind of like, okay, I still need you to be a wife, and I still need you to do your wifely duties. To hell with the chemo, to hell with the radiation. You still need to satisfy and please me. And I'm thinking, how do these men grow up? I am so curious to know what kind of childhood that they had. So they're going back and forth, and they finally come to an understanding. And they're basically like, okay, he admits whatever he admitted to, and he's like, I apologize, I'm sorry. And so they kind of came to a truce, and we all know truces on this show are extremely temporary, but they did come to a truce. After that, Marceau invites her to the town hall meeting. So I am going to now talk about the town hall meeting, then I'm going to come back to Tiffany and Lewis. So at the town hall meeting, people start showing up. Everybody was invited except for the Fletchers. People start showing up, and Stormy comes in with Courtney, and she greets everybody. She greets Letitia, but she ignores Marceau. Marceau did say hi to her, but she completely ignored him, did not respond to him. Marceau then brings up his meeting with Melody, and this is before Melody actually shows up. So he says that he had a meeting with Melody, and everybody wanted to know what happened at the meeting. Marceau says that Mel is, and this is another thing, you apologized to her. It seemed like y'all were coming to a truce, but then at the town hall meeting, Marceau says, well, I just had to let her know that the only reason why she's successful online is because she's got this platform. She's on this show. Which, like, anybody would be stupid to not take advantage of being on a nationwide or international show. Anybody who is in business and is trying to promote or is trying to establish or make their business, you'd be stupid to not promote your business if you are on a television show. That would be stupid. So why is that wrong for her to use the show and to use her popularity and to use her fame to sell t-shirts and coffee mugs and whatever else on her website? Why is that a bad thing? I don't understand why he keeps bringing it up like it's a bad thing. And another thing, he does it as well. Him and Tisha, they have their own online business. So, like, why do you throw jabs at other people for the same thing that you're doing? So Mel shows up, and as soon as she shows up, everybody's like, oh, Mel, we're just talking about you and what happened with your meeting with Marceau, and did Marceau actually apologize? Melody admits that yes, Marceau did apologize, and then Mel got right down to it. I forgot all that she said. I didn't write it all down, word by word, but she got right down to her critique of the Black Expo. She talked about all the things that she thinks would have made it a whole lot better, and I agreed with her. And then Stormy also brought up some good ideas. She had brought up that they could have included a motivational speaker to get the people motivated about being entrepreneurs and business owners. And then Marceau said, oh, okay, but I don't know about that, because you have these motivational speakers. I'll come out and they'll say, oh, put God first and everything will come together. And then that's it. They walk off the stage. And they don't really tell people the step-by-step process of how to start a business or how to make a business better. So I don't know about that whole motivational speaker thing. So he completely poo-poos on Stormy's idea of including a motivational speaker. So then Mel piggybacks on Stormy's idea and says, well, if you have a motivational speaker, they can also include a CPA, an attorney, to also be a part of that whole motivational thing. And so when Melody said it, all of a sudden, it was a great idea to Marceau. He was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And Stormy caught that. And, she whispered to her husband to let him know that, that's exactly what I had said. But, I guess it's different when it comes from somebody else. So then Marceau referred to Stormy as Courtney's wife. He didn't call her by her name. He said, okay, and if Courtney's wife has anything else to say or whatever he said, but that's how he had referred to her. So here he is. And this is the reason why Stormy calls him a bitch, because he says and he does these little stupid immature things. Courtney tells Marceau, well, why don't you let your wife, get a chance to speak and let her take over the meeting, because she seems to be a whole lot more organized than you. You're a little bit all over the damn place. Don't nobody understand what you're talking about. Nobody's following you. Maybe Tisha needs to step up and take over. So Stormy called in her confessional. She said that the sassiness was coming out of Marceau. Marceau was getting really sassy. In Kimmy's confessional, she also referred to Marceau as being very catty. Now, these are terms that are usually reserved for women, but they're both using these terms on Marceau because I kind of don't really care for, when you're using things that are attributed to a woman, you're using them on a man to disrespect the man, because there's nothing about a woman that's disrespectful. There's nothing about a woman that is derogatory or anything like that, that if you use that same attribute on a man, it's just, you're emasculating him or you're taking away his manhood. a term that you would refer to, that you would refer to a woman. I don't really care for that, but okay, I get what they're saying. I understand what they're saying. So Stormy then realized, okay, in her confessional, she says to Courtney, if I would have known that this was just a format for us to help the Scots make a better Black Expo, I would have stayed home, because I thought we were all going to come together as a collective group to make another Black Expo that would have involved everybody. Like, we would all put on a Black Expo together as a group, and not us just giving Marceau and Letitia feedback just to make their next Black Expo better. And I don't know, Kimmy, what did you say in your memo when you sent it out to everybody? Like, what was this really going to be all about? Or did Stormy misunderstand the email? So Stormy then, okay, so Mel says that, it was very unorganized. And then Tisha, all of a sudden Tisha woke up, because this whole entire time, Letitia wasn't saying much of anything. So when Melody said how disorganized the whole event was, then Tisha kind of piped up and she was like, I don't see how it was disorganized. And Melody explained what she thought was disorganized, starting from when they had the meetings or leading up to the Black Expo and the Black Expo itself. It could have been a whole lot more organized. It could have been a whole lot more streamlined. And so then Letitia says that anything that happened before the Black Expo is irrelevant. And then Melody was like, oh, absolutely not. Everything that led up to it was extremely relevant, because she said the prior to leads to the main event. And so if your prior to is all in shambles, your main event's going to be all in shambles. So yeah, the prior to had to be just as organized as anything else. So Melody says in her confessional that Tisha was real quiet the whole time until she started giving her 2 cents. So Marceau says, I'm going to take all this criticism, I'm going to take all this hate, and I'm just going to put it to better use. I'm going to use it just to motivate me to put on a better event in the future. Tiffany says, well, oh my God, Marceau, I can't believe that you're going to be taking criticism from women. Wow, that's amazing. And so Marceau tells Tiffany, I know you're not used to being valued, but you're valued here. You see, that's the thing about Marceau. Excuse me, y'all. Marceau loves to poke the bear, right? With these women and their husbands. They're big, tall, buff husbands. And when these husbands react, okay, because he's constantly picking on their wives, when these husbands react, all of a sudden he's running behind Maurice. He's running behind Martell, for Martell and Maurice to step in between him and these husbands and keep the husbands at bay. And he wants to act like he didn't do or say anything wrong and everybody's just too damn sensitive. You keep on poking that bear, Marceau. They're going to lay you out flat on the concrete. And yes, you're going to be suing them and everything else, but you're going to be suing them from a hospital bed. Okay, wrapped up from head to toe in a cast. So Stormy, I thought what he said about Tiffany, oh, I understand that you don't feel, that to me, I thought that was just so offensive, because of the fact that I'm pretty sure, Letitia has told Marceau that, Tiffany feels maybe not valued by her husband, like her husband isn't paying enough attention to her, and maybe going through the postpartum depression and all the things that she's going through as a new mom, and her hormones being off balance and all of that, and feeling like her man isn't there enough for her. I'm pretty sure Tisha has told him all of that, and he's using that now to make fun of her and to attack her when he says, I know you don't feel valued, but you're valued here. Man, I hope Lewis reacts when he sees that, when he hears about that. So Marceau, so Stormy calls Marceau a bitch under her breath, but Marceau caught it, and they were off to the races. Okay, well, yes, I'm a bitch, and I'm a big bad bitch, and da, da, da. So him and Stormy, they're going back and forth, and Courtney going back and forth, and then Courtney and Stormy, they got up and they left. And then after that, the meeting, I don't know what happened after that, but Kimmy was like, the meeting was a fail. My whole idea went straight down the toilet, because y'all people cannot behave. And Marceau is just, he's so, and I don't know if he's just trying to make good TV or if he's really like this. I hope that he's just trying to make good TV. Like, he understands that he's the villain. That's the part that he plays on this show. He's the villain and he plays up to that. I hope that's what it is. And maybe behind the scenes, they all get along a whole lot better. But that whole meeting was a fail. But it did expose Marceau for exactly what he was. Moving on to Tiffany and Lewis. So they're having a picnic, just the two of them and baby Ace. And we find out that Lewis got a new job as a baseball coach for his alma mater. Tiffany feels like he's gone way too much because he's on the road with the team. And it's baseball season, I guess. And so he's gone a lot for the games and whatever else. So she's telling him that she needs him around more. She's feeling, like she's handling everything by herself. She's got too much on her plate. It's a lot for her, and she just wants more of him around to help. And he tells her, Tiffany, it was the same thing when you were starting off in your career. You were gone a lot, and I was holding it down at home. And it's the same exact thing. This is a new career for me. And I'm pretty sure this is something that he was dreaming of doing because he's really into sports and more specifically baseball. So to be a coach at a college, on a college level, it's fantastic. He couldn't pass this up. And so she's like, I just need you around more. I've gained all this weight and I don't feel like I'm myself. And he tells her, you're beautiful. You just had a baby. Don't be too hard on yourself. And the doctor told me that I can't even work out. And so she's going on and on and on. And then when she said, I'm just worried that you're going to fall into temptation when you're on the road. You're going to be looking at the young hotties and, when she said that, I was like, so this is what this conversation is really all about. It's not about the fact that you feel overwhelmed with the new baby and all of that. You are feeling some kind of way because he's gone a lot and he's around these younger people and you're worried that something might pop off. You're feeling because the more she kept on talking about her weight and all this weight that she's gained, even though she just had a baby. I mean, the baby's still a newborn, for God's sake. So it's not like, she's had years to take off the baby weight. She just had this baby. So for her to keep on going on and on, oh, and I've gained all this weight. And then when I was like, okay, Tiffany, this conversation would have been a lot more interesting if you just would have been more honest and said exactly what was on your mind. You're worried about your man leaving you because you feel unattractive. And you feel like he's gonna, some young college thing is gonna catch his eye and he's gonna, cheat on you or whatever. Just say what it is. Just say exactly what it is. But he reassured her. He was like, no, I only have eyes for you, so on and so forth. It's true. We haven't seen a lot of Lewis this season. And in this scene, I don't know, he didn't seem really into it. I don't know if it's because, she was giving him the blues and that's why. But he just seemed tired and not really, I don't know what's going on with these people. Maybe I don't know. I've always said, maybe it's time for them to make an exit. Maybe this show isn't really for them right now in the season that they're in their lives. But I don't know. But Louis was like, so what do you want me to do? I'm going to quit my job? Do you, Tiffany? Do you want to be a one income household or a lesser income household? If he gets a job closer to home and he's home every day by 5, would you be willing to live like that? Moving on to Kimmy. So Kimmy invites Nell Fletcher to come see her at her office. And Kimmy wanted to kind of feel out how Nell was feeling about, once again, being excluded from the group when it came to the town hall meeting. And I don't know, I think when I think when Kimmy had brought up the town hall meeting, it was at the baby reveal when she said, we should all have a town hall meeting to give back some positive, constructive critique about the Black Expo. And Nell Fletcher was there. So because Kimmy just gave this wide invitation, I guess it was assumed that Nell was also going to be a part of it. But I guess when she started sending out the individual invitations, she did not invite Nell. So she was explaining to Nell, I guess she doesn't want Nell feeling some kind of way, which is too late. But she was telling Nell, look, I didn't invite you to the town hall meeting because you were not at the Black Expo. So it would have been a waste of time for you to be there because you didn't witness the stuff that was going on. And Nell was like, I still should have been there. You leave that up to me to decide on whether or not I wanted to actually show up. And Kimmy was like, but it was my meeting, so I can invite anybody I want. And so Nell said that even though she wasn't at the Black Expo, she still could have given some insight and some advice on how to make the Black Expo better. I kind of feel like she could have. I feel like there was nothing wrong with inviting them there. There was nothing wrong with it. What could it have hurt to invite them? You know, because and I don't understand why the group, or more specific, even Kimmy too, why the Scotts, both sets, don't put a lot of value in Nell and Chris Fletcher's business. I don't get it, because I didn't see anything wrong with Kimmy inviting them to the damn meeting. You know, like, what could have hurt? So they agreed to disagree, because Nell believes that she should have been there and Kimmy believed that she should not have been there. So they just basically agree to disagree, and I guess they're on good terms, and they move on from there. So Martell meets up with his business partner. I forgot the guy's name, and so he's back to building homes, and he meets up with his business partner because they're breaking ground on a new construction project. And who should show up but Chris Fletcher? And we know Chris Fletcher, he has been following Martell all over North Huntsville, trying to get him to move out of that damn house, because Chris Fletcher's client, who's the owner of the house, is trying to sell it. But Martell is still living in it. And he has missed every single deadline to move out. So Chris Fletcher, he is on the hunt. He is on the prowl. He is on Martell's butt. So he sees Martell and he walks up to him and he's like, yo, let me, what does he say? He says, he brings up Martell moving out, and Martell was like, oh, okay, give me about a week. And Chris was like, I gave you 2 weeks already, and that 2 weeks is up tomorrow. And so they're going back and forth. And so Martell is trying to be a real smart aleck, and he says, well, are you gonna help me move? And Chris is like, yes, I'll send the U-Haul trucks over there right now. Yes, I'm gonna help you move. I need you out. So they talk about the Black Expo. Chris is so messy. Chris Fletcher is messy. They talk about the Black Expo, the Fletchers being excluded. Chris Fletcher talks about, I don't know why Marceau wanted to act like he had no idea that my wife owned a daycare. Now, I don't understand why I wonder if they keep pushing Nell's daycare as like a promotional type of thing, because they keep on bringing up her daycare all the time. And I'm thinking, well, Chris, he's in real estate too. Like, they bring up the daycare more than they bring up Chris's real estate business. So I wonder if they're trying to low-key trying to promote the daycare without, paying the show to promote the daycare. So anyway, so Chris is like, yeah, we weren't there, and, my wife has a successful daycare and I do real estate and blah, blah, blah. We could have added so much to the damn Black Expo. And, coming to find out, the Scotts ended up getting sponsorships for their event. And Martell said, and let's not forget, that was Melody's idea, because they didn't even think of that when we had our meeting. They didn't even think about having sponsors. And so when Melody brought up the whole sponsorship thing at their meeting, the Scotts were like, oh, we're not gonna, this is for the community. We're not trying to make money off of the community. But they went ahead and got sponsors and got paid. So, but they're trying to keep it on the hush because, of course, they don't want to look stupid, because they completely poo-pooed on Melody's idea to have sponsors at the event. Martell points out that it was Melody's idea. Fletcher brought up the disrespectful things that Marceau had said when he had when he had the double date dinner with Letitia and Marceau. Fletcher tells Martell, yeah, they're talking about how, y'all really didn't contribute much to Scolt. It was all them, and y'all weren't, you and Melody didn't do much of anything, and they were talking really bad about you. And that got Martell really riled up. And Martell was like, they wouldn't be where they are now without me and Melody and our input and us helping them out. And so, Martell gets all heated up about that. Marceau right now, to me, seems like a very desperate man. I don't know what's going on with Marceau. Even to me, Letitia this season seems kind of off. Marceau seems extremely desperate. He seems like, when things are not going good for you, you just start attacking people for no reason, and you just start talking about people and dragging people for no reason because you're so stressed out about your own damn life. That's how Marceau is coming off to me. He's must be going through something. I don't know what. Of course, his show is the teaser for next week, where Tisha's cousin Kiki is telling Melody that there's this rumor going around yet again of Marceau messing around with some woman. So of course, obviously it seems like I don't know. We'll talk about that next week. But so I don't know if that's what it is, or is it this lawsuit, this $5 million lawsuit that they've been sued for fraud. Somebody is accusing them of fraud, suing them for $5 million. But Letitia, her attitude has been, kind of. Marceau, he's been on the warpath and, attacking women left and right. I don't know what's going on with the Scotts, but something is definitely brewing in that household. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much. Excuse me for my cold. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video, if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and and I'll talk to you later. Bye.